Hey, what's up everyone? My name's Wes, Weave Bonding Tracking Field Cook, and in today's video we're talking feats. Let's go. Okay, so Heliana's Guide crafting feats. But I already did all the combat feats, and we're getting into the crafting ones today. Let me explain crafting first and how it works. You have to have proficiency in a skill, proficiency in a tool. If you don't have proficiency in the tool, you have disadvantage. I believe same thing goes where if you don't have proficiency in the skill, when it comes to harvesting, you have to make like an assessment first, and then after that you would make your check to harvest, but they call it carving. But let's just get right into the feats. And our first one is going to be Expert Enchanter. It's going to increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1. When you go to enchant something, doesn't matter what skill you're using, if you're proficient in it, you have expertise. When enchanting something, when you're rolling for quirks as you're enchanting, you can either give yourself a bonus or penalty equal to half your proficiency bonus. And lastly, it takes you half the time to craft something. For every 1 hour, it counts as 2. Now, if you're wondering what quirks are, there's no like, you roll bad and you failed. It's like, oh, you rolled bad, you still made the thing, you still enchanted it, but you might have made it cursed, or you might gave it to something a little extra, like maybe it's sentient now. Either way, we're gonna move on to our next one, Expert Forager, which is gonna increase your constitution, or your strength, constitution, or dexterity. Set those out of order. When manufacturing something, you gain and you're proficient with the skill, you have expertise again, you're doubling it. When you are enchanting or manufacturing, you do the same thing as before. You can either give yourself a penalty or a bonus, and same exact thing as before, you half the time. Moving on to Field Cook, you're going to gain proficiency in cooking utensils. You are going to, whenever you're rolling, you're allowed to substitute ingredients. So like instead of honey, you can use agave. Instead of sugar, you can use stevia. Stuff like that. When rolling for quirks for your meals, you can, instead of choosing a quirk, just say they are going to get inspiration. So when somebody eats it, they're just going to gain inspiration. And you can choose to remove flaws and grant boons to your meals instead. Surprisingly, it doesn't give you expertise or anything, and it doesn't give you an ASI bump. So I say it all the time, you should just give out the chef feat for free. So this would pair really well with the chef feat. Give them the chef feat to increase either their wisdom or constitution, and then on top of that, if they decide to take this one, or if they decide to take chef later on, just give them expertise in cooking utensils, because giving it to them twice is redundant, or giving them proficiency twice is redundant. We're going to move on to Forge Master, which its prerequisite is having Forge Expert. Same thing, you're going to increase your strength, dexterity, or constitution. I got it right that time. You're going to give yourself advantage when it comes to manufacturing. You gain 2 proficiencies in, specifically with tools. You gain 2 tool proficiencies, and it now takes you a third of the time to craft, it now takes you a third of the time instead of half the time. Our next feat is called Jack of All Tools. You increase your strength, dexterity, or constitution by 1. You gain proficiency in 3 tools. You can add half your proficiency bonus to a tool check which you are not proficient in. Say literally Jack of all trades, but Jack of all tools. And then you also don't have disadvantage when it comes to that check as well. Also, you can reduce the time by half when it comes to manufacturing. So I'll explain how crafting works at the end. Weave Bonder, prerequisite, Expert Enchanter. Increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1. You grant yourself advantage on the check when it comes to enchanting. When rolling for your quirk, you can roll twice and choose whichever one you want. And then instead of half the time it takes you a third of the time now to craft something. So, crafting, you need proficiency, and you need a proficiency in the tool, or else you're going to have disadvantage on your checks, which can result in flaws. Once again, think of like accidentally creating a cursed item. Do they correlate all the time? Not necessarily. And now we're going to talk about harvesting. Expert harvester. You increase your dexterity or intelligence, specifically one of these two. Yeah, you give yourself expertise. Then if you're helping someone, well, you can choose to help them. You don't have to have the same skill proficiency, and you're not going to have disadvantage. And you can actually add your proficiency bonus to that roll when helping someone. Also, now you don't have disadvantage when you're not being helped and decide to work solo to harvest a creature, well, specifically to do the assessment checks and then the carving check. This is why it bugs me, because they decided to switch it from harvesting to randomly introduce the word carving, which, why? We get it, we're harvesting. We have to make an assessment before we harvest. That's the dexterity part and also the intelligence part. But why change it to carving all of a sudden? Right, definitely a me thing. Either way, Reapmaster, prerequisite, expert harvester, increases your dexterity or intelligence. You're going to gain proficiency in arcana, investigation, you're going to gain proficiency in either arcana, investigation, medicine, nature, religion, or survival. And lastly, when harvesting, you can give yourself advantage. So those are all of the feats, and those are all the crafting feats in Heliana's Guide, part 1 on D&D Beyond, part 2 of my Heliana's feat videos. What do you guys think? Obviously, I'm bothered by the word choices. That is definitely a me thing. There's like literally a 5-step guide to harvesting in the book, which you can kind of remove. It just seems like extra steps. Which, if you like extra steps, cool, comment down below. But for me, I think I'd rather use the feats from Grim Hollow for enchanting or for crafting and harvesting, as opposed to... Oh, those are just for harvesting, I believe, aren't they? I know the dungeon dudes also have their version of crafting, and they don't have feats in their book, and their crafting doesn't require quote-unquote downtime for like X amount of hours. However, they require you to be at certain locations where, in my head, that is initially the same thing as requiring you to have downtime. Because why would you go there if you're in the middle of like investigating X or tracking down Y, or literally in a dungeon, right? All right. That's gonna be it for me today. Let me know what's your favorite style of crafting. There's a bunch of stuff on the DM's Guild out there. Maybe there's another third-party book that you like to use for crafting. If so, comment down below to let me know about it and let everyone else know about it. Or do you guys use your own homebrew rules? Either way, I've been Wes, Where's the Fun? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.